And we are back, and we just finished watching 1983's Krull, rated PG, with a runtime of 2 hours and 1 minute. This movie was directed by Peter Yates with a screenplay by Stanford Sherman.
Krull!
The IMDb description is a prince and a fellowship of companions set out to rescue his bride from a fortress of alien invaders who have arrived on their home planet. I guess that's a pretty good summation of what this film is about.
Yeah, pretty much. It doesn't really deviate from that. There's no soul-searching moments where he discovers what it truly means to be king or anything like that. He is the worst king. He literally runs away when people are in peril. Leaves them behind. He does that like twice.
Yeah.
He's like, he has like the most dead expression. He finally, at the point where he's like finally about to achieve victory, he just has like the dullest, most placid expression on his face.
Well, maybe he realized what a stinker this film was. I don't know. I mean, okay, so I'm going to out myself and say I actually saw this in the theater when I was a child, and I loved it. But obviously my memory isn't very good because I just sat through it again and I was like, oh God, what the hell were we thinking in 1983? This is terrible.
I remember wanting to see this movie so bad when I was a tiny kid. What was it? I was like 10 years old. I wanted to see this freaking movie so bad. I remember standing outside of a theater for some reason. I think my parents were window shopping or something, and there was like they had monitors and they were showing like little bits of the movie on the monitors, and I was just like, "Oh man, that's so cool! Look at that shiny star he's throwing around."
Question for you: do you really? Okay, so again, I actually saw this in the theater and I loved it.
Yeah.
But like now, I'm like, what? You know, as an adult, I'm like, what is this species? Do you now regret not having seen this as a child? Because I think your expectations and your whatever is so different as a child than it is as an adult. I mean, although I loved Star Wars. And I still love Star Wars.
Well, I mean, when I was talking about it before, but like, yeah, there is. You could see they were really trying to go for Star Wars,
some epic, fantasy thing
in this movie. But nobody involved in this film
gave a
had
shit.
the skill set to get even close. Like I mean, there was like that's the thing that's funny. There were costumes, there were sets, but nobody gave a thought to anything like lighting or blocking out scenes or pacing or editing or directing or acting or anything. It was just like, okay, we got this great idea.
Yeah.
And let's go. We're starting tomorrow. Yeah. And they just hired every random dude that they possibly could find who just wasn't busy at the moment. And there's like, you got Hagrid in there.
Right. Young
Robert
Hagrid.
Coltrane. You got Liam Neeson.
The guy who made it to the end. The guy with the like pockmarked face. What's his name? He's that guy you've seen.
I'm pretty sure he was also like in Harry Potter at some.
Oh my God!
You know what?
Yes.
All of them were probably in a Harry Potter.
Yes, he has
movie.
been in Harry Potter.
Yeah. If you see this guy, you're like, oh, that guy.
Alan Armstrong. That's his name.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. He's still around. He's still character actor. Solid character.
He was in The Mummy Returns. He was in Van Helsing. He was the High Constable in Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, that guy's been around.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean, if you see his face, you know who he is.
And the guy who was like in the Obi-Wan Kenobi role, he looked kind of familiar too.
That guy? What was his
Yeah,
name?
I forgot what the hell his character's name was, but he's definitely been in stuff.
Yenyer? Freddie Jones. He died in 2019 at the ripe old age of 91. Oh my God, he was in Dune.
Oh, was he the guy? Yes.
Yes.
I told you, seriously, David Lynch was like, I don't give a crap about anybody.
Oh, that's so funny because the Spider-Woman
was Lady
Jessica from
Jessica.
Dune.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Some
That's
heavy
amazing.
Dune connections there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest. So Krull came out the year before in 83 and Dune comes out in 84. So
Oh, wow. So those
I guess
guys
a lot of those character actors, if you're doing sci-fi, that's basically what you're doing, right? So
you know what? They were maybe that's what was going on. They were just like, oh, well, the studio next door, they're making Krull. Let's just, I got a couple of breaks. We're English actors.
Yeah. We're all about working.
Give it, yeah. We'll be in anything. Just, I never saw the movie, but I saw the house it built.
That is the greatest line ever uttered by an actor, by the way.
But yeah, like they were definitely going for that Star Wars epic fantasy sort of thing, but seriously, nobody had the skill set to pull it off. Zero. Because there's some interesting ideas there.
Yes.
Sort of like a medieval kind of world being invaded by an alien force that comes down in like some sort of like dark mountain that teleports every day.
I'm glad you brought that up because what I was going to say is this, just from reading the IMDb and just also watching it again, this felt like an amalgamation of every sci-fi thing. It felt like Lord of the Rings. It felt like
Star Wars.
It felt like
basically Camelot tales, quests for the Holy Grail.
I was going to say some kind of king thing.
Yeah.
So it was just like
defeating ancient evil.
It was like, let's just toss everything in and see what happens.
Yeah.
So this really was just an amalgamation of everything.
No, that's the thing. I mean, like I was saying, there's a lot of cool ideas in there. It's just so horribly executed. I mean, even the Slayers were cool.
Yes.
They were like, you smash their head open and like some hideous worm thing would just flop out and dig into the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting that they're not just guys in those suits. There's some sort of like hideous organism.
Yeah.
There was interesting. There was changelings.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell was going on with the spider lady.
That was nuts. That whole sequence
was nuts. Yeah.
But the spider looked freaking cool. It was like this glass spider.
Old Ray Harryhausen type animation too. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, is that where
horses with fire going out?
That was crazy too. And the glass spider, I was like, oh, wasn't that the Bowie tour?
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
No, there was a ton of good ideas in there. It was just.
And it's funny because this should have. I gotta be honest. Young me loved the crap out of this movie.
Yeah, I probably would have loved the shit
crap out
of
this movie.
I probably would have loved the hell out of it too.
I didn't even remember that thing was called the Glaive, but like I can't believe you remembered that.
Yeah.
Jesus. And I was like, to me, it was like this like really cool, like almost like bastardized like Shaw Brothers death
like the
equipment.
flying guillotine.
Yeah, I was like.
But I got to be honest, for the longest time, I thought that thing was Krull. I didn't know that the planet was called Krull until I just saw the movie today.
I don't even remember. It was like watching this movie fresh, honestly. I don't remember a damn thing about it other than Ken Marshall, the main character, because he had been Marco Polo in that NBC miniseries, and I was like, I had like the biggest crush on him.
Oh. This is like the first time I've sat through the whole thing. I've seen like chunks of it when it's like ever appeared on like Pix or something. That. But this is the whole time I've seen it. The first time I've seen it as a whole, and if I was a little kid, I would have loved the hell out of it. Probably.
Yeah, I love.
Children are very forgiving, and they're just like wrapped up in just like the cool bits.
Yeah, yeah.
And
they're easily entertained.
I gotta be honest, we didn't watch this with the kids, but we could have. But I'm betting they would have been bored out of their minds.
Well, I mean, after you watch Marvel special effects, you can't go back.
I mean, this was 2 hours, and there were definitely parts where you're just like, come on, get on with it.
Yeah.
Seriously, though, there was like a 5-minute sequence of him climbing a mountain to get the glaive.
Yeah.
And that was like another thing. It's like, okay, we got to get the glaive. Okay, well, how do I get it? It's up there. And you're thinking, okay, there's going to be some sort of trial or some sort of like amazing bit of adventuring to get this thing.
No.
Nah, he sticks his hand in
lava.
what looks like lava, but I guess it's just water with maybe some wax in it. And he just picks it up. He's totally fine. And he's just like, yeah, I got it. Yeah. And he's like, he's about to like fling it. And the old guy's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
You can't use it until you're ready. And it's like, who wrote this shit?
Yeah.
Use the goddamn glaive. You have like the most powerful weapon, and there's like aliens, and all the aliens have guns.
Yeah.
And they don't. They're using swords and axes to fight an alien invasion.
And why didn't they think to like steal some of those weapons?
I don't know.
I mean, they're obviously better than
There was a scene where they
swords.
literally capture one of the Slayers, and it just cuts away, and then it's nobody speaks about it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I'm assuming they killed him.
I'm guessing, they just murdered him.
Yeah.
That was just.
Yeah, this is.
And then they get that old
movie.
blind guy, and the old blind guy just gets killed.
Oh, yeah, that was so. And then the Cyclops. Oh my God.
Oh my God, the Cyclops. Ugh. You know they spent all the money on that dude's freaking prosthetic eyeball.
It was terrible.
That poor actor. He probably couldn't see shit.
Yeah. But it looked so fake. It was like this decal on the upper part of his face. It was terrible.
And it would blink.
Yeah.
Like it was the same blink sequence every time.
Yeah, this movie.
And then at the
bad.
end, they're like, yes, the Cyclops has made a deal with the Dark One. They took away one of their eyes so they could see the future, but the only future they could see is their own death. And then at the end of the movie, the Cyclops is like, okay, I can't go with you guys because I'm supposed to die over here.
But then he comes
and then at the
anyway.
end, he just decides, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go help these dudes.
Hang out
like,
with my boys, yeah.
Just do it, yeah. And then he gets pulverized. I feel free to give away spoilers because this film came out in 1983 and it's shite.
Oh my God! If we had held off another year, we could have celebrated the 40th anniversary of Krull.
Oh God! 40th anniversary.
Jeez, can you believe it's that long ago?
You know what? People should get online and see if we can get a director's cut of that shit. Add another 2 hours of the king climbing a mountain.
Yes, let's.
Maybe we can get another hour of that old man climbing the mountain he climbed when he went to go see the Spider Lady.
Yeah, Snyder cut.
Yeah. Or another hour of them cutting away every time somebody gets killed so that you don't see anything.
Okay, so what could have made this movie better?
Better script, better actors, better director, a better lighting department. The sound was good. Everything sounded good. Special
Cinematography
effects.
work was good. I mean,
No.
Boring.
So boring. Everything was boring. Everything was blocked out in like the most dull, generic ways. There was no choreography. The way they filmed the fight scenes was just like
Terrible. Yeah.
Just flailing about. I mean, come on. You're trying to compete with Star Wars here. Some effort needs to be made. This was really, I mean, everybody must have been getting paid scale or pizza and donuts because nobody gave a damn. And then I'm like, they had like all those, like he had all those like guys with him and you just didn't give a crap about any of them. You're supposed to care that when Hagrid dies.
Are you?
He was like, he got a couple of lines in and then he just dies. Oh, the best was when Liam Neeson dies.
Oh my God.
And he's like shot and like, what's his name?
Alan Armstrong.
Alan Armstrong is like leaning over him and he's looking at him and you just hear Liam Neeson dying and he's like, Alan Armstrong looks away because in the scene, I'm guessing Liam Neeson was dead because you don't see him. He's below the screen. And you just hear like in voiceover, Liam Neeson goes, tell Magritte I love her. And Alan Armstrong just basically never looks at him and just goes, "Okay, let's go." There's just no effort made to make anything have any kind of emotional resonance. Just terrible. None of them had any chemistry with one another. There was like this guy who was comedy relief who could turn himself into ducks and tigers and stuff. A little kid who served no purpose at all.
None.
Other than to wave a stick with bells on it.
Yeah. So what other movies came out during this time? We talked about Willow. Better, right?
Willow was a million times better. I was like outraged when you
I said, I think I
might
like this more.
better. No. Willow had charming characters who had good chemistry with one another.
Better writing,
better direction, better editing, better sets, better costumes.
What about Legend? Legend's obviously better.
Legend was great.
Oh, I love Legend.
Tim Curry looked amazing. As Darkness in that movie. Oh my God. The makeup work they did on him was phenomenal. He is like one of the best looking devils I've ever seen.
Yeah.
In anything. With
Dark
those
Crystal?
huge ass horns. Dark Crystal doesn't age well.
It doesn't. But
no.
Would you watch that over this?
Yeah.
Okay. Willow?
I would watch Willow.
Not Willow. Labyrinth. Why do you dislike that movie? I freaking love that movie. I'm gonna force you to watch it.
I'll be honest. I never sat through the entirety of Labyrinth, but what I did watch just made me cringe so hard I couldn't really watch it. I gotta be honest. A lot of like this stuff where it's like really puppety Jim Henson work, which is like Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal to a degree, it doesn't age very well. It really doesn't. Like Henson has done great puppet work in other movies. Like, I mean, nobody liked that Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie.
We liked it.
I mean, we were probably in the we were definitely in the minority.
Yeah.
But the puppet work they did on that for like I think they were called like the Vogons or something.
Yeah.
Outstanding. The lips on that thing. Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
Oh my God. And like when I saw something recently where they were talking about how they got the lips and everything to look so fantastic on Audrey.
Audrey too. And basically what they did was everything you see, whenever you see a scene with Audrey, they're filming it in like double speed. So this way or basically they're projecting it at twice the rate that they filmed it. Mm-hmm. So like when it was going on, the lips were moving very slowly and whatever. So Rick Moranis acting with it had to basically move entirely in slow motion as they were filming the scene. And he was singing. Oh, wow.
There were the sequence where they're singing together. They're doing it at like half speed.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then when they ramp it up, it's just like the lips are like moving beautiful. Oh my God. Little Shop of Horrors is an amazing work film. of puppetry.
Yeah.
It's so outstanding. That was brilliant. I mean, that should have made a lot more money than it did.
Yeah, that was really. We just saw it like within the last year or so, right? And it was so funny because that was one of those movies that I saw with my family at the theater, and I loved it. I loved it then, and like I
saw the play too.
I didn't see the play. Not really a Broadway person, but when I had to watch it again for film discussion, and you sat and watched it with me, I forgot how good it was.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
It's a really good film. Movie. Although at the end, we're like, where did the money go? But then we found out, well, you told me, because I didn't even know this, because I never really deep dove on movies, but you're the one that told me there was like a completely different ending.
They filmed it. You could see it on YouTube.
I saw it on YouTube. Yeah. It's bananas because it's not anything like what they put in the theater. I was like, what? This took a crazy turn.
No, they wanted a happier ending.
Yeah. But reining it back in.
Everything could have been done to make this film better. I think it would be amazing if somebody just took this and was like, okay, we're redoing Krull.
Oh my God. I would totally watch it.
And we're going to do it right. Because seriously, there are a lot of
good elements in it.
Ideas in this story. It's just nobody who was handed the story had any right to develop it. Oh my God. Has that guy ever directed anything else? His name sounds familiar.
I feel like he has.
But God, it was
It was a terrible movie. Listen, 10-year-old me loved the crap out of this movie.
Like every department failed. Editing, lighting especially.
He did Bullet from 1968, which I think is a pretty big movie. A pretty famous movie, right? Bullet? Was that with Steve McQueen? The Dresser from 1983. That sounds familiar. Who's in that?
The same year as Krull.
Personal assistant Norman struggles to get deteriorating veteran actor Sir through a difficult performance of King Lear. That's interesting. It's with Albert Finney and Tom Courtenay. That sounds vaguely familiar. Breaking Away. I love that movie.
He did Breaking Away?
He did Breaking Away, 1979.
What the hell was going on with him? I guess this was just really...
That was a good movie. We should watch that.
A weekend paycheck or something. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing was filmed at a weekend. It was just garbage.
Something called A Separate Piece, 2004. Don Quixote, 2000. It all came true, 1998. Although it's also called Curtain Call. Something with James Spader. The Run of the Country, 1995. Roommates, 95. Year of the Comet, 92. An Innocent Man with Tom Selleck in 89.
I mean, regardless, Krull did not destroy this.
He did career. Suspect. That's my movie I was telling you about. Cher and Dennis Quaid. Oh my God, we got to put that on the docket to watch. I really love that movie.
So I mean,
he's done a lot of crap.
I guess Krull didn't destroy his career.
No.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, he's got a lot of movies. I mean, he had a pretty long career. He was born in 1929. He died in 2011 at the age of 81.
He was born in 1929?
1929.
Wow.
Yeah. 1929 and died in 2011 at age 81, which isn't old compared to other people. I mean, some people are like living into their 90s and hundreds, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the last thing he did as a director was a TV movie from 2004 called A Separate Piece. And the first thing he ever did as a director was something called Summer Holiday from 1963. He did 7 episodes of the TV show The Saint, 7 episodes of Secret Agent.
We don't need to know his entire life history.
All right, I'm just saying.
But he clearly did, I don't know, maybe he was drunk when he did Krull, because this was terrible. Like, there was no care given. Maybe he thought he was above it or something. I mean, back then, a lot of people were like even with Star Wars. Remember, Alec Guinness was just like, "This is shit." I'm saying the worst dialogue.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think. I mean, would it make more sense now to make it as an animated thing?
I could see it as an animated thing. Seriously, there are a lot of good ideas in there. A lot of interesting ideas. It looks like somebody I get the impression whoever came up with this really cared about it and thought of like, oh, this would be so cool and this would be so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of things in it.
And then they like handed it off to screenwriters and studios and producers and directors, and nobody
gave a shit.
Nobody gave a shit at all. I mean, it was a
hodgepodge mess.
It really failed on just about every single level you could possibly imagine.
But, okay, so I agree with you in 2022, but were audiences more forgiving and easily entertained because we didn't have as many cable channels in 1983?
Well, this didn't do well in 83 either.
It didn't do well in 83 either. No, actually, you're right.
This was a complete failure on all counts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I went to the theater and I loved it.
I would have loved it too. I mean, when you're a little kid, you want to just see all sorts of garbage.
Monster trucks.
Yeah, I mean, the kids love that. Monster
Trucks
wasn't
too bad, actually.
I'd watch Monster Trucks 10 times out of 10 over this thing. But yeah, you're very
Reminiscence.
Forgiving. I would not. No, I would watch Krull.
Yeah, I'd rather watch Krull than Reminiscence.
Krull greater than Reminiscence.
Malignant.
Oh, that's a tough one. I really didn't like. I probably watch *Malignant* just because it's
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, but at least it's filmed.
And it's funny.
Whoever filmed it had a sense of like lighting and sound and atmosphere. This was just weird.
Yeah.
Like even right from the get-go, there's like that weird Christmas sounding music, and then suddenly it's like, all right, you sound more like John Williams, and it sounded more like John Williams.
Well, James Horner. He's like a pretty famous composer. Isn't he like an Academy Award winner?
Maybe, but he was definitely phoning that shit in.
I'm sure he didn't think so in 1983.
Everybody involved in the production of this movie was phoning that shit in, and like I think even as I'm guessing as filming went on, even the actors were just like, whatever, man.
Oh no, I didn't know he died. James Horner.
Because I believe, the King's performance. What was that guy's name again?
Ken Marshall.
He got terrible. Worse as the movie went on, and he wasn't good in the beginning. So as the film went on, and the princess was just like,
well, she had a bigger career than Ken Marshall.
She looked more familiar to me than him.
Yeah.
But her thing was basically just like, open my eyes as wide as I can and run so my dress flares out. Like even when she's like running around the fortress of darkness or whatever, it's just like she's like got her arms out wide, like it looked like she was practicing ballet.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like,
what?
You don't look
in distress
freaked
at
out
all.
enough.
Yeah,
you need to be more freaked out.
Yeah.
And you could, had like was reminiscent of like Legend in that respect, with like the bad guy going, you're going to be my queen, and you're going to rule, and you're going to love ruling, and it's going to be awesome. The bad guy was trying to sound a bit more intimidating than that, but not by much.
Yeah.
And the bad guy, they just like would show like fragments of his head, or like, I don't know what they were doing, kaleidoscopes to make his face more distorted. But basically, it was just some dude in a rubber monster costume. You could see they were trying to cover up a lot of shortcomings with that part.
Yeah.
And then at the end, for some reason, he was like, was he always a giant?
I think so.
And then at the end, the glaive didn't really even matter.
Yeah.
It kills like a couple of bad guys, and it sticks in the monster's chest, and that's better. But then, whatever.
Excalibur. Do you remember Excalibur with Helen Mirren and Patrick Stewart? That was better.
Excalibur was way better. Whoever John
Gordon.
Borman made that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Flash.
he filmed that nice. Like that had beautiful sets, lighting, sound. I mean the music. Excalibur was great. I saw that in the theater too when I was a little kid. Probably shouldn't have, but
I saw it in the
my
theater
parents
too.
wanted to see it, and we did, and I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Lady Hawk. That was a good movie.
I've only seen chunks of Lady Hawk.
Oh, really?
It seemed. I remember it seemed.
It's
okay.
good.
That was like the guy turns into a wolf during the day, and she turns into the hawk. And they switch.
Vice versa. Yeah, because they couldn't be together.
Yeah,
Michelle
they
Pfeiffer,
were
Rutger
cursed,
Hauer,
they were cursed or something, right?
the murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Legend.
Legend's
Flash
great.
Gordon.
Flash Gordon's amazing.
What else? Dragon Slayer. Beastmaster.
I don't remember Dragon Slayer too much. I remember thinking it was okay. Beastmaster I loved.
Right. Mark Singer.
Mark Singer with his little ferrets, Kodo and Podo.
I can't believe you remember all that.
I forgot what the tiger's name was. They that poor tiger, they painted a tiger black.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. And he had to fight the Jun Horde.
That's a cool name.
They were wearing hockey masks. It's like ancient barbarian times, and it's just this gang of lunatics wearing hockey masks.
So we saw this on HBO Max.
Yes.
And we're going to say skip it.
Skip it unless you want to like maybe just get really high and you feel like killing 2 hours. Maybe you'll have some laughs. You never know. It's dreadful. It's not.
It's not even funny though.
It's not. Yeah, it's not even funny. It's there are moments that are so bad that you laugh a bit, but it's not really. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just too. They could have probably cut this film
This is
down
one of those
to like maybe a little more than an hour.
And change. Yeah. There's no reason for this to be 2 hours.
Just I don't know what. Yeah. Nobody cared. Nobody cared.
This is a movie that lived better in nostalgia.
Yes, it lives in nostalgia.
Yeah.
It doesn't deserve
because
to be
I loved it as a
but
child.
I would say it doesn't deserve to be revisited, but I would be like, hey, somebody take this and do something with it. Because, yeah, like I said, there are a lot of good ideas in there.
Yeah.
It's just nobody knew how to execute them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like
if it was made today, I think it could do real. I think it would be good.
if it was made today, it would do well. Well, again, it depends on the script, right?
Get some
So
WB looking kids to be the leads, and
who would you pick to be the young prince / king?
I don't know. I don't give a crap about any of these young actors.
Tom Holland.
Nah.
He's young looking. I'm sure he can do the stunts. And he's British. He's bringing that work ethic with him.
Nah.
No. All right.
I don't know who you. Somebody who's just like known for just like, look at my abs. I'm troubled and I have abs. One of those guys.
Maybe some unknown guy.
You know what? There's like 1,000 guys in Hollywood that would fill that bill. So
yeah.
Right. That's not really that important. I think it's just give him a little charm, get some chemistry going.
Better writing.
Get some chemistry with like the sub characters.
So that you care when something happens to them.
As far as special effects go, a child with an iPhone could do better than this movie. So I'm not worried about that. Even cinematography and lighting could be done with a child on an iPhone better than this movie. Seriously, they didn't care at all. That was some of the most flat photography I've ever seen in my life.
But I feel like they tried.
I don't think they did not try.
I think they did because I think
they didn't try at all.
From the very first frame, I got the impression that people were hoping that this was going to turn into like some big money making sequel driven property.
I think that maybe the producers did because they're shoveling money. Mm-hmm. But apparently they didn't shovel enough money or they didn't shovel it at the right people because they did not care. That whole wedding
sequence,
banquet or whatever, so dull looking.
Yeah.
Nothing was shot in any way. Nothing was laid out in any way that was remotely interesting. When the Slayers showed up, I didn't know if it was the Slayers going, Slayers are here.
Yeah.
Because people were celebrating still after they blew up the door. Yeah. And then they finally like, oh, no, the bad guys are here.
Yeah.
And they all get killed. They all get like slaughtered. The fight scenes are just
terrible.
They're just absolutely terrible. And I'm supposed to be impressed because the king or the prince or whatever the hell he was swings on a chandelier rope. I mean, come on. What is this? Like Captain Blood? That's not impressive anymore.
Yeah.
I want to see like choreography, fight choreography.
But I don't think in '83 fight choreography was important.
Yeah, that's true. If you look at the lightsaber fight in Star Wars, it's just the
pretty
shits.
Dull. Yeah. And it's funny because that's another thing about this. It's supposed to be sort of like a swashbuckling adventure. You've got sword fighting and stuff, but it's
swashbuckling in it.
Well, I think they wanted to. But
it was more like flailing and flopping everywhere.
I think the intention was that they were hoping that this was going to be a big moneymaker for them. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way. But and it's funny because I feel like 1983 audiences were more forgiving. I mean, like if you look at like what the movies were playing back then, I mean, it was a lot of hot crap back then.
Well, I think. It's not like how it is now where there's like a lot of care given to like genre type movies.
Sure.
Back then it was just like, this is cheap popcorn crap.
Entertainment. Yeah.
It's just there for kids to be like, wow, yippee, great.
Maybe
sell some toys from it, but they didn't really put in the money that they put in now.
No, agreed.
Like if you would have told some producer back then, where I come from in the future, the genre films, they have budgets of like $300 million. And
that would have been unheard of.
That person back then would have been like, are you shitting me? You are where's your cocaine? I want some. Because back then the budget was like 30 grand.
A little bit more than that. But I know what you mean.
For a genre movie.
But so this is what I was going to say. these types of movies absolutely had bigger budgets and more money spent on like FX and stuff like that, like all these fantasy movies. But I feel like even in 83 or like even early 80s, the big genre, at least in my recollection, I could be wrong. I mean, dramatic movies, yes, but I feel like horror was still a big mainstay
but the thing is,
in the theater. But horror is cheap.
Horror is cheap.
Right.
It's
easy.
just like jump scares, and if you're good, you're basically learning how to scare people by pretty much showing nothing.
Right.
And yeah, around this time was when they started, like, there were a couple of, like, I guess, prestige sci-fi sort of stuff, sci-fi sort of movies or fantasy kind of movies. They were like putting a little bit more money into budget and special effects, but that was like the result of things like Star Wars.
Right.
But for the most part, they were still really looked down upon.
I mean, is it just sci-fi as a genre, or
it's not until later that people started taking it more seriously, that you could show complex stories with interesting characters in this kind of setting. Back then it was just sort of like, this is for the kids.
Right.
We don't have to make it look fantastic, because kids are very forgiving of back then.
Right.
Because that was like the dawn of special effects.
Right.
I mean, not really the dawn of it, but the dawn of like putting it in movies where you could sort of like see interesting things and like makeup effects and things like that. Nowadays, it's, we show our kids some of the older stuff, and they're just like, oh, it's so fake, it takes me out of it.
Right.
Us, it was like, we didn't care.
Yeah, we loved it.
We thought it was awesome. Oh, that looks so cool. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's fake.
Yeah.
But we didn't care.
No. It was more story driven to us. But I think the other thing was...
No, we wanted to see cool stuff.
No, we wanted to see cool stuff, but I think most of it was story driven.
No, this is because the story, looking back, I mean, most of the stuff is garbage.
That's true, I guess, yeah.
Nostalgia carries a lot of weight.
Yeah. No,
it's shocking. Right. There's very little that you could look back upon and like revisit now and be like, you know what, that really holds up. A lot of times you'll basically be like, I wish I didn't watch that again.
I still like Legend. I think I
still like Legend too, but Legend was very well done.
It's only 2 years after this one. It came out in 85.
Yeah, but look at how different that movie looks to this.
Yeah. No.
Look at how the lighting and the effects. I mean, probably the only thing in Legend that I look at and I sort of like wince a little is the freaking unicorn's horn. Because you see that thing bouncing on its head.
Yeah, it's so fake looking. Yeah.
But everything, I mean, Tim Curry, seriously, you can't get enough of it. Tim Curry looked amazing. The goblins looked amazing. That disgusting witch that came out of the swamp.
Yeah.
The crazy, the like Hell's Kitchen cook. That guy looked terrifying.
Yeah.
The lighting, the way, like, I mean, it's Ridley Scott. He knows how to point a camera and get a beautiful shot. And block everything. Yeah. The fighting, everything was really well done in that. That was done with care. The music, the way like the sunlight would come through the forest.
Yeah.
This one, they were in that forest. That looked like, the ground looked like it was AstroTurf.
Yeah. Oh God!
It's like, what swamp looks like this? Who mowed the swamp? It's just
we haven't seen this, but Tron, 1982.
Tron is one of those movies that
you know what? I still watch that, and I'm still entertained by it.
There are parts of Tron that are entertaining, but if you watch it again, it is very long and there's a lot of spaces where nothing happens.
It's not very long. It's only an hour and 36 minutes. It's actually shorter than this.
Really? Because honestly, then that's even more egregious, because there are huge portions of Tron where nothing happens.
It could be, but I still love that
I
movie.
loved Tron when I was a kid too, but I've seen it more recently as an adult, and I've actually been bored.
What was that other one? Oh my God, what's the other one? I know I've told you I love it. the black hole, right? The Disney one.
The black hole.
Like
I haven't seen that as an adult recently, but I just remember being a kid and just being baffled by the ending. So I didn't really enjoy it.
We should watch it and discuss it, because I think there's I think I read an article about religious connotations about that movie. So
well, you could totally read that into it. I mean, they were they in hell at the end? I don't know.
I don't know.
I just remember Maximilian with the little cracked face, and you see the doctor's head inside of it, and I was like, what? What the hell's going on? But
I thought that those things were so cool.
No, the effects were good. When I was a kid, I loved those little floating robots. I thought those were the floating.
Cool. But I meant the red guard things.
Maximilian, that guy looked amazing. The Cobra Commander looking drones that were piloting everything. Visually, the black hole looked cool. Yeah. The ending, just like I said, it just baffled me. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
And that movie is only an hour and 38 minutes, so also shorter. From 1979. Is that Disney?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they have it on their streaming?
I think so. I think we've passed it a couple of times.
Huh. We should definitely check it out. These kids would not want to be a part of that.
I think they would probably be bored out of their mind.
Yeah. But you and I can watch it, revisit it. We've talked about everything but this film. It feels like.
No, there were large portions of this review dedicated to Krull. I think part of the appeal of Krull is just the word Krull. Yeah. I just say
Did I ask you about a number?
I would probably have to give Krull a 4.
A 4?
Yeah.
Not even a 5?
No, it's not average. It's a bad movie. It's a not good movie. I'm not going to say it's the worst thing I've ever seen.
No, it's not the worst. It's not the best. I feel like it's middle of the road.
No, it is not average. It is not average. This is not a good movie. It's not good. This film is not good. You know what? I'm giving it a 3.
A 3?
Yeah. I feel bad because, like I said, there are many cool ideas in this movie. And I think that's also what really hurts. Mm-hmm. Because if this was given to somebody who cared, because the guy was clearly capable of directing movies.
Yeah, apparently.
He did not care. The editor did not care. The cinematographer did not care. The lighting crew did not care. The actors did not care.
The
script writer did not care. Nobody cared at all. And somebody, I think the guy who was making the costumes for the monsters, I think he cared.
Yeah.
But it's a team effort.
Sure.
It wasn't there, and that's frustrating to me. So, yeah, I'm giving this a 3.
I'm going to break away from the pack. I'm going to give this a 5 because I think that
5 is average. It means that it wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad to me.
Oh, come on.
It wasn't. It wasn't Legend.
Let's be honest here.
It wasn't Willow.
Let's be honest. It wasn't
Flash Gordon.
It was bad. You have to go below 5 for this movie.
I don't agree.
It wasn't average. Average means that it wasn't bad and it wasn't good. It was just average. This was a legitimately bad movie. You have to go below 5.
All right. So then I'll give it a 4.
Okay. That's honesty right there. I know you don't want to be mean to it, but
it has a special place in my memory. Again, listen, if you're of my generation and you saw this in a theater and loved it as a child,
don't see it. Just keep those memories. Keep those memories pure.
Or if you want to revisit it, it's now streaming on HBO Max.
You're going to ruin your childhood. Don't watch it. I'm warning you. Don't watch it. If you loved Krull as a kid, don't watch it.
You don't think there's any redeeming stuff here?
You're gonna hurt yourself if you watch this movie. Seriously, you're gonna be mad. You're gonna be like, you're gonna look at the inner child, the little kid inside your head, and you're gonna be like, you're a fucking moron.
You don't think there's any redeeming?
Like I said, there are cool ideas in this movie.
So, based on that alone, wouldn't you
No,
want
but that's
to
the thing that
revisit it?
that's what makes it even worse.
But that's what I mean.
But there's cool ideas in it that are just so horribly executed.
I am hoping, I'll stick with the 4, but I am hoping that the next generation of filmmakers watches it and gets inspired by it and takes those ideas and makes something better out of it.
You know what?
So
here's a wild idea. Guillermo del Toro remake Krull.
oh my God, yes.
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
He hasn't done a space movie. Well, this isn't really space.
Well, he's done
it's
sci-fi.
He's done sci-fi and fantasy. He's like the king of fantasy.
Come on, Guillermo. Remake Krull.
See, but I want Guillermo to make The Monstrumologist.
He's got so many projects in the
I
burner.
know. He doesn't have time
Krull
for
could be
any of
part
our
of it.
shenanigans.
Remake Krull.
Krull or Monstrumologist? If he had to pick one, he'd have to do Monstrumologist.
Yeah.
That's way in his wheelhouse.
We're going in Fantasyland. We're already at almost an hour. Let's wrap it up.
There's so much to talk about, though, with Krull.
No, we're done with Krull. Krull!
I'm gonna.
I love saying the word Krull. I mean, even like I said, this is the first time I've ever sat through the entire movie, but I would say not a year goes by when there isn't a moment where I'm just like in the bathroom or something, looking in the mirror and just looking, and I just say Krull. Krull. It's a fun word to say.
I'm surprised they didn't do more advertising with the glaive.
That's the only thing I remember.
I know, but I never saw it anywhere. It wasn't on T-shirts or mugs or anything like that.
I mean, nobody.
How do you market a movie like this?
I don't know. We're done. It's time for bed. Come on. It's almost.
I want to keep this.
It's almost midnight.
I want to keep this conversation going.
No, we're done. Krull. It's not a good movie.
All right, so the husband says no. I'm going to say yes. If you're a little kid and you can hear me, get your parent. There's nothing objectionable about it.
No.
It's long, and watch it and be inspired and make something better out of it. Mm-hmm. That's your assignment, young children out there.
Yeah, just there's some kid like strapping 5 steak knives together. Look at Mom, it's the glaive. Hurling at his mom.
Please don't do that.
Please
don't do that. I'm talking about storyboarding and writing stories.
I'm Krull. Throwing a big frisbee and steak knives at people.
All right. Well, I'm still going to say go check it out on HBO Max.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Krull!